Welcome everybody to the Cannon Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Coman. I have the honor and privilege of being here with Coach Keith Belton today, who's the strength and conditioning coordinator, head guy down here at UCLA. We're going to go on a journey. I'm going to essentially shine a light, or do my best to shine a light on how he coaches, what his philosophy is, essentially what the culture is of the program. And my intention is that all of you listeners, the entire audience, gets to take away some golden nuggets that you guys can apply directly to your life. Mm-hmm. So, Coach, man, first, welcome to the show. It's an honor to be here. Yeah. I would love to hear the start. Let's take it back to maybe there was that flick of inspiration that got you into the coaching world, and then maybe take us on the journey of the starting point to now.
Wow. How much time we got?
We got enough time. We got as much time as you need, Coach.
Okay. Wow. So to begin it out, I always wanted to be an educator at some point. So I wanted to be a school teacher. Originally, I wanted to be a school teacher. I was influenced greatly by my sixth grade teacher, Miss Flo Sessoms. And I always wanted to be able to make other people feel how she made me feel. Right? She made me feel like I was worth something, you know, academically. And she would stay after school to help me sometimes. And I knew at some point I wanted to come back and just be an educator and be a teacher of some sort. So that kind of got me intrigued to get into not necessarily coaching, but just wanting to be a teacher. So I knew going into college I wanted to be a teacher. So I majored in history, right? And not because I liked to read, I just hated math.
Gotcha.
So when I got to Syracuse, I met with my academic advisor, and they're like, okay, so what are your interests? What do you want to do? So I ended up graduating with a degree in history and a minor in African American studies. But my original plan was to go back home to Charlotte and be a high school football coach and a school teacher. That's all I really wanted to do. And I would have been content with that, honestly, if I could have went back to West Charlotte and be a high school football coach and just raise a family and just do that deal. But the good Lord had other plans. I was blessed with some talent, not a lot, but I maximized what I had, and I had opportunity to go to the National Football League. And I started out in Detroit, then I went to Chicago, then I went to Denver, then I came back to Detroit to finish it up. And when I got out of football, I would love to tell you that I retired. I did not retire. NFL retired me. I was not good enough no longer. And I was at peace with that. I really was, because I kind of knew it. I kind of seen it. After year 3, I was like, you know what? These guys may be just a little bit bigger, stronger, and faster than me, and it was just time for me to hang it up, right? So I started substitute teaching. And the thing that was really, really cool about it, I started substitute teaching in Charlotte. So I went back to my old high school. I was substitute teaching. I was going to the elementary school substitute teaching. I was going to the middle school substitute teaching. And I really got a chance to really scratch that itch that I had for teaching. But then I got to high school, but when I got to high school, you know, high school have weight rooms. So I guess it's one of those days they double booked me to be a substitute teacher. So I was in the science class and I was in the strength and conditioning room. And when I got in the strength and conditioning room with all those kids, and I saw the terrible technique and I saw how things can just go terribly wrong, I was like, you know what? I have enough knowledge to fix this and to help. And I just really enjoyed that type of that dynamic of that relationship of just teaching people how to do basic things and just seeing them grow in it. And I was like, you know what, that may be a future in this for me. I thought about it, and you know, I talked to she was my girlfriend at the time, but I talked to my wife about it, and she was like, yeah, I think you should. So I started sending out the resumes, and then for like 6-7 months straight, I never got a response from nobody. My first response was from Mickey Marotti. He was at the University of Florida at the time. And the only thing he did was email me back and say, stay in touch. But that's all I needed, right? Because nobody responded to me but Mickey Marotti. He responded to me. He said, keep in touch. And then I emailed back, yes, sir, I'll be available. You know how it is. I'm young and I'm eager. I wasn't young. I was like 28 years old, right? But I was eager, and then I just kept emailing. Then I got a phone call from Coach Ethan Reeves at Wake Forest at the time, and that right there, it changed everything. They changed the whole trajectory of my whole professional career. So when he called me on a Friday. It was around 3:30, and Winston-Salem was like an hour and a half away from Charlotte. And so I'm talking on the phone with Coach Reeves, and he said, hey, what you got going? And, I told him, Coach, I just want to come somewhere and learn. I'm willing to do anything. I fold clothes. I clean benches. I do whatever it is you want me to do. I just want an opportunity to learn and get into the field. And so I said, Coach, I can be there by 5 o'clock. It's like 3:45 at this time. But I didn't want to let him off the phone because, a lot of times you don't get a chance to get another call or get another interview. So while I had him on the phone, I wanted to go ahead and capitalize, on that opportunity at that point. And he was like, no, Keith, let's set it up for like next Monday and next Tuesday. I didn't want to wait the next Tuesday because I didn't want the weekend to go by and then Monday come there and he changes his mind. So I said, I'll be there first thing Monday morning.
Yep.
And when I got there, I met Coach Ethan Reed face to face, and he taught me about tumbling, which I just got finished doing. He taught me about the kettlebells. He taught me about hand cleaning, power cleaning. I can do all that stuff already just by being in college. But we really dove into the details and the techniques of everything. And he ended up offering me the internship at Wake Forest. So I was at Wake Forest for a year. But I was dueling because I worked also at that time. I was working in the mental health field. So I would say the people I was mentoring at the time that were in Charlotte, I didn't get rid of them, but I transferred to Winston-Salem. That way I picked up a new, quote unquote, clientele in Winston-Salem. That way I could still work and pay bills and go to Wake Forest and do my internship. But then I was blessed enough to get a coaching position at Johnson C. Smith University. So I was literally working at 2 universities at the same time.
Wow.
And so there I was a running backs coach, right? I was a running backs coach, but then since I was interning at Wake Forest, learning about strength and conditioning, the head coach at the time, Stephen Aycock, he said, hey, since you're at Wake Forest, you learned about the weight room. What you think about helping lead our weight program? So I was like, let's do it. So I was kind of getting all the practical work at Wake Forest and at Johnson C. Smith. So I was learning and doing it and applying it at the same time. So I did that for a whole season. But this is where everything changed right here. This was like 2009. Wow, time is flying. It's like 2009. And I had started telling my family, I was telling my wife, I was telling my father-in-law, I was telling my family just in general that I'm moving to Texas. And I kept saying, I'm moving to Texas. I'm moving to Texas. And it was like, why you keep saying you're moving to Texas? I said, it's something for me in Texas. I don't know what it is, but I know sports is big. I know football in particular is huge. And they got those big old high schools out there, so I know it's something out there for me, right? And so I started getting more calls as far as internships because I already had an internship. So as you know, it's easier to get a job when you got a job.
Yep.
It's easy, you know what I mean? However that works, like when you got a job, it's easier to get a job. But I had an unpaid job, and I was fine with it because I was learning, man. I was just having a blast doing that. And so I got an email from Coach Andrew Althoff and Kaz Kazadi at Baylor. And I was like, that's Texas.
Yes, sir.
That's Texas. I emailed back. They called me. They were like, hey, we have an unpaid internship that may turn into a GA spot in the next few months. We can't guarantee you nothing, but the only thing we can guarantee you is an opportunity. I said, when do you want me there? It was pre-spring break for them. They was going on spring break, so they said probably the next 3 weeks. I said, okay, let me hang up. I'm going to call you back. I called my father-in-law. I said, Pops, I need a favor from you. I said, Pops, I just got a call from Baylor. They offered me an internship, right? I said, but this is what I'm asking of you. Can my wife, her name is Santry, can Santry and Peyton, who was basically like a newborn at the time, come back to your house and live while I go do this internship because I'm not going to be making any money? And he said, are you kidding me? For sure you can. For sure they can. That's my baby and that's my grandbaby. And you doing whatever you feel like you need to do. I called Baylor back. I said, I'll be there in 3 weeks. And they were like, really? And they were like, yeah. First day there, I was a new intern. I showed up. I had my Jordans on. I had my Jordan shorts on, my fresh Nikes on. I was just fresh to death, right? They didn't even speak to me. The first thing they did is gave me an Allen wrench. He said, look, go put these footstools on. I was like, cool. It was all good for me because it was like, that's all I needed. Just let me in the door. That's all I needed. Just let me in the door because I know what I can do. But so I was there for like 3.5 months before I was a full-time employee. So I skipped the whole thing. Like it never got to the point where I was a GA. It never got to the point where I was a paid intern. It was intern, full time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember calling my wife like, yo, they gonna hire me. They gonna hire me. And she was like, how much? And I told her how much. She was like, we can't do nothing with that. But it was the first time that I got a paycheck for something that wasn't predicated off how big I was, how strong I was, or how fast I could run. It was something that actually applying knowledge. I stayed there for 2 seasons, and then I went to the University of Washington, right, in 2012. So in 2012 and 2013, I was at the University of Washington. Then we all came down to University of Southern California, USC, with Coach Steve Sarkisian. I stayed there for 1 season with Coach Sark in 2014. And then while I was there, I was like, you know what, Thump, it's time, man. You're ready. You need to go be a director, because I had all the tools. I didn't have an issue talking to people or you know what I mean, just kind of relating to whoever at that point. I just had to learn the quote unquote the X's and O's, the strength and conditioning, programming and progressions and all this type of stuff. But once I learned that, I knew it was game time. So I got the opportunity to be the head guy at University of Nevada, Las Vegas, UNLV, from 2015 and 16. And man, we went up there. Me and my man Jeff Eaton, it was me and him and some interns, and we made that thing best as we could make it, man. You want to talk about, we cooked the food, we made the peanut butter jelly sandwiches. Literally, we cooked the food. It was grits in the morning, it was oatmeal in the morning, it was the bacons, we had a makeshift nutrition room that was an old storage room that we basically gutted out. My man Fred Smith there, who's head over facilities, he came, he re-wired the room. We had hot plates. My wife was going to Costco, getting all the points.
I love that.
She was getting all the points, buying all the eggs. I mean, we had a great time. We built a good relationship with Einstein Bagels out there in Las Vegas. We was getting free bagels and was coming making bagel sandwiches and getting the cheap cheese. You know, the guy's stomach was hurting later on, but it was all good. They was fed. But we did that for 2 seasons, and I ended up getting a call from USC again, from Coach Helton and that staff, and they wanted to say, hey, KB, would you be interested in coming back to USC? And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, because I had just left two years prior, and I loved USC, right? And I was like, you know what, it may be a good time. So I called some people on the staff that I considered friends, and they were like, KB, you may want to come back. This may be the spot to come back to. So I ended up coming back. It's one of the best decisions I made, but it's also one of the worst decisions I made, because like, the part of me is like, I wanted to finish at UNLV what we started, because I believe we was going on the right trajectory. But at the same time, when I went back to USC, I was like, we went and won the freaking Pac-12 championship, and that's what it's about, right? Those type of experiences, right? And then I had a chance to meet some new players, and some of the guys that went off to the NFL that we're still cool and friends with now. They come by here and train. There are USC guys that come here to train. How about that? You know that never supposed to happen. Now, I won't take no pictures because they'll be terribly upset with these guys, but they come here to UCLA and train. It's just because of the relationships. It's not because I'm this great strength coach. It's just the relationships that we developed during those times. And so I went back to USC for 17 and 18. And then I went to University of Kansas. When I preceding Kansas, I moved to Houston. So I got out of business completely, right? So as a father, obviously when you work in athletics, you spend a lot of time away from home. And I kind of wanted to get back to home, being present. Now I have, I still have 3 kids, so don't get me wrong. I don't want to get in trouble. My wife sees this. I still have 3 kids. And I'm not adding anymore. That is it. But my son is 15. My daughter's 11, and my youngest is 9. So I have 3 kids, but in this college athletics, a lot of times you just gone so much. So I just kind of wanted to plant my feet. I had already moved 3 times in a year, and I just wanted to be a dad. I just wanted to be a husband. I just wanted to do that. And so I took 2020 off. Moved to Houston, worked at a gym. Then I got a call from Coach Kelly in the beginning of, like, February 2021. I got a call from Coach Kelly, and I was here in March. So that's kind of the journey of getting here, and I wouldn't change anything. It's been a blessing, and being here at UCLA, like, it's a fit for me. I got a colorful personality. I'm probably different than a lot of people that's in this seat, right, in this business. So I'm very, very, very fortunate to be here.
Incredible, man. I appreciate you taking the time to take us on that journey. And there's so much that I listened to, that I heard, that hopefully the audience can hear too, just in terms of specific little golden nuggets that they can take with them from even the beginning, the persistence of, like, you decided that you were going to do it, and you started banging on coaches' doors until somebody let you in, and then somebody let you in, and you continue to get opportunities, which is a beautiful thing. I think at the beginning of anybody's career, whether it be in the coaching field or any field, that simple thing can be something that people take away for sure. I relate to it. That's been my young career also, but this podcast ain't about me.
It's all good.
I would love to hear, how you take all of this experience in, your older 20s through your 30s and learn from guys all over the place, recruits coming in from all over the country, guys with all different demographics and backgrounds, and turn that into, let alone, now a refreshed kind of year in 2020 where you're with the family, becoming, just kind of grounded in your being a father and a husband and all of those incredible things. How then did that help kind of shape the mission, and what is the mission and maybe the values that you now put into here, UCLA? What's the refreshed perspective? Take us on that journey, Keith.
That's an amazing question, and we go chew on this one.
Oh, please.
We go chew on this one. Well, the mission, the values. I think 2020 probably put a reset on everybody. Really, I think everybody had to kind of recalibrate how they thought about life, how they thought about their family members, how they treated each other, how they treated themselves overall, just through the epidemic. But it didn't take the epidemic to do that for me. Right? Like, I changed my lifestyle way before COVID-19. If I wanted to be whole, then my family needed to come first. And what really, the straw that broke the camel's back for me, my oldest son at the time, he had a soccer game. And I was 38 years old at the time, and I had to go ask for permission to go see my son play on a Saturday morning. And it's not like Coach Whitfin was going to say no. It's not like Coach Les Miles is going to say no. They were like, yeah, sure, please go see your kid. So I'm not saying, but the fact that I had to ask. When I left the game, when we left the game and I had to get dropped off at the stadium because we had a home game, my daughter said, don't feel bad because he's never at my games. So I knew right then and there something had to change, because I didn't want my kids to be numb for me not being there. I'm going to Houston, and I'm going to work at this gym, and I'm going to be at home every day, and I'm going to take these kids to school, and they go train with me. My wife's going to come to the gym, and she's going to train with me. We go make smoothies. We're going to have a good time. We go eat lunch. We go hold hands. And that's just what it was, and it was great. But I'm a competitor, man. I'm a competitor, and I'm sitting there on Saturdays, and I'm like, man, I got to... Man, I started getting that itch because I'm used to that competitive spirit on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But I was still content because, you know what, on Saturdays I was sitting at home and I was watching football with my family. So from a value standpoint, and this is what I bring here, this is why I really, 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 and I'm not saying this because I work here at UCLA, but this is why I really love and respect Coach Kelly, because he understands the family dynamic. You know what I'm saying? I have a guy now that works with us, and his son is in school, but he goes to private school, but his wife works here at the university. She's a doctor, so she has to be here extra early. So he has to take his son to school every day. And so and I'm tired of him, and I tell him to his face, don't stop telling me you got to take your son to school. I know you do. Take that baby to school. And then, as a matter of fact, stop by McDonald's and eat something with them, right? Yeah. Spend more time with them. We don't have anything going, take your time, because that time is so valuable. And I want him to be able to do that, because that's his number one job, right? Is to be a dad and make sure that boy, that baby knows that you're there. So if it's his birthday, no, you're not going to stay here all day. You're going to leave at noon. And you're going to do whatever. You're going to blow those balloons up. You're going to paint the walls. You're going to do everything. You're going to be there. You're going to be a dad, right? So I have a couple guys on the staff that are married, and I always tell them that's your number one priority. Your wife is your priority. You can never be whole as a man if your house ain't in order. I just think I was just blessed with a gift, honestly. I just think I was blessed with a gift to be able to just see people and see things for who and what they really are, and don't put nobody on no pedestal and don't put nobody below. It's like my granddad used to always tell me, you know better than nobody, and nobody's better than you. And I just kind of approach it like that. I don't care who they are. It was one day this summer, 2 Chainz was here. And, man, we was in here working out with 2 Chainz.
That's fun.
And you want to talk about just a genuine person? Like, he wasn't, I don't even know his name. I wouldn't even ask his name. But he wasn't even 2 Chainz. He was like, man, what we got next? He said, I don't look like what I've been through. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? But it's just that. It's that graceful humbleness that you got to have. When you come in this weight room, when you're on this team, like we all bleed that blue and gold. So white, black, green, yellow, it doesn't even matter at this point. It's just a standard that we all got to uphold. And that standard has been set in place by Coach Kelly and the university. And it's not going to change, right? So either you go meet the standard or you're not, right? And the standard is what Coach says all the time. If you lower the standard, guess what you do? You lose your winners. You raise your standards, you lose your losers. So we're trying to lose as many losers as we can. So the standard and the mission here, like in Coach Kelly tell you, we go graduate our players, and we go make sure they go leave out better than they came. You know, that's just where we are. You know, he said the human conundrum is to know what you're supposed to do, but don't do it. And we all deal with that. But so it's always come to end. If a guy don't feel like doing it, then that's our job to educate again. But then we got to motivate him and educate him on why is this important. And then not only educate him on why it's important, but motivate him enough to get him to do it till he sees why it's important to him and how it's not only affecting him, but it's affecting the whole nucleus of the team. Right? It's too much hands around the shoulder, rubbing you on the back and buddying you up. No. This is your job. Do your job. You do your job well, we're going to be fine. I love you to death. You know I love you. I brought you here. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't have brought you here. Right. And if we can't coexist, then you got to go. Yep. I like that. That's business to me. And that's fair, right? That's fair. So, so from a standard standpoint, the standards here are high. You go to class. Here, if you work here, you go come here, you go do your job. You go do your job with tons of enthusiasm. And we're going to always act and react out of the spirit of love. And love is proponent number 1 for us, everything. When we break out as a team, we break out in love. When we come together, we break in love. You know what I mean? And when we correct you, we're going to correct you in love. If it don't feel like it, it won't. A lot of times it probably won't feel like love, but that's what it is. It's definitely love.
They get to learn to feel it like that.
Yeah. But, but the challenges are, and I'm going to go off on a tangent because, I'm a Gemini, man. We different sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, the Geminis, man. Us Geminis, man. Geminis, man, it's different. It's different now.
I'm sitting here listening, Coach.
I'm telling you, man. When Kanye be going off, I be like, man, that's my Gemini brother right there. But anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone. People start biting my head off because I like Kanye. But anyway, and they hate me when they first get here because this is what time you're gonna be here, and you're gonna be on time, and you're gonna dress this way. You're gonna go to class, and you're gonna sit in the first 3 rows. No, you're not going to wear Crocs. No, you're not going to wear flip-flops. You're going to put some shoes on and you're going to look like you belong somewhere because you represent your family. You represent this family. So are we clear on that? Yes, sir. And they be hot to 3-4 years down the road, and they get that phone call from the head coach from whoever, and they say, yes, sir, I would love to come play for you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, because it all works together, right? When mom and dad or mom and uncle or mom and football coach and whoever, and they got that male presence there, them boys act different when they get here.
Right.
Because I tell them, you want me to call you uncle? I call him. Nah, coach, don't call him. Coach, don't call him. Just this past week, we had a kid, fastest kid on the team. I look out there on the field. He's doing his sprints. He's in the middle of the pack. But he's the fastest kid on the team. He gets off the field. I say, go get your phone. He say, for what? I said, we finna call your daddy right now. And I told his dad on him. The next day, he wasn't in the back no more. Yep. He was in the front.
Yep. Damn
you
right.
know what I mean? But that's the standard, though, because the parents set the standard. But sometimes when they get here, we got to raise the standard. Because at the end of the day, as a parent, you want your kid to be better than you. I want to be the coach that I want my own kids to have. You know what I mean? And I'm nearing that point because my son, my oldest, is 15. He said he'll never come play wherever I am. He said, I can't deal with you, man. He said, you just too much. You know what I mean? But I want to be the coach that I would want my daughter to have. I want to be the coach that I want my young sons to have. I said it before, if I can't stand out there in parking lot structure 8 and look down on the field at myself and be proud of what I'm seeing, then I don't need to do this anymore. Mm-hmm. I just want to do it right, you know, and you know, with the guys that I work with, I want them to see somebody who's doing it different. You know, I think our approach is different. Mm-hmm. I think everybody truthfully and you know, from their heart, do it for the right reasons. You know, honestly, I believe they do it for the right reasons. But I just want to lead different, right? I want to lead different. It ain't about me standing up in front of the team all the time and setting a new standard of how this business really needs to be ran. You know, like I said before, I work with people. I don't nobody work for me. Mm-hmm. You know, I work with these guys, and these guys are amazing. And I said it before. I said it in the podcast a couple of days ago that I don't expect to have these guys long, man. Like, people going to come get these dudes, right? They're going to come get Coach Buchanan. They're going to come get Coach Simmons. They're going to come get Adrian Briones. They're going to come get Ross Shumway. They're going to come get Coach Miller because they're valuable guys, man. They're smart, intelligent. The standards, you know, the standards for our kids, you know, show up on time, be respectful, be where you're supposed to be, do what you're supposed to do. As a staff, the standard is to coach out of the spirit of love, educate and motivate. And then if you see a problem, correct the problem.
Mm-hmm. Man, you did much more than answer my question.
Oh, okay, good.
You know, being in the industry myself, I'm sitting here, you know, doing my best to absorb, you know, mm-hmm. I get to rewatch this myself and learn from you.
Yeah.
And truly, I heard so much, and I get to do my best job of kind of pointing out the things that stuck out the most to me, mm-hmm. and that I think can be useful for the audience also, because a lot of the people listening to the show are high school coaches. Mm-hmm. And I think I've seen, you know, a lot of high school coaches that, to your point, might come from maybe a broken home.
Yep.
And I think it translates into every single person that they're then around, every kid that they're coaching. Mm-hmm. And so to hear you say that and to be able to understand that that is the baseline for you, mm-hmm. and that has allowed you to build, you know, every level that you've unlocked for yourself, it's because you're set there. Mm-hmm. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I hear. And that's what I respect almost the most out of what you said. And because of that, you get to be at a place as magical as this and lead on the spirit of love, mm-hmm. and have a staff that, like you said, doesn't work for you, they work with you. Mm-hmm. And that's a beautiful thing. I have been a part of staffs myself and seen and talked to coaches on different staffs, and those are the ones that have the success. Those are the ones that their win-loss record reflects, mm-hmm. that it's not only about the guy on the top. Yeah. The guy on the top helps sets the standard, and everybody else understands, I've got a role in this too, that I get to honor myself and truly, you know, embody what it is that I'm leading with. And so, yeah, man, I could keep going, but I want you to keep going. No. I want you to keep going. So I've asked you 2 questions and we're 46 minutes in. What a beautiful thing that is. Yep. You know, and really, like, a lot of what you've said has kind of, it's rooted in all of these questions that I had. Yep. But let's get into when kids or young men leave. Mm-hmm. What fills you up the most when, you know, you talk about the Juju Smith-Schusters and the guys that, you know, you've known from the past? Yep. Like, what fills you up the most to build these relationships, keep these relationships, when you see them, of course, maybe having success on the field and the league and beyond, but what else is it? Like, what are these, you know, values that maybe you've imparted or staffs that you've been a part of put into these guys? Let's get into this.
Wow. I just remember, just say Adoree Jackson, mm-hmm. right? And I was at USC when Adoree first stepped foot on campus. Young, 17-year-old, had his braids. He was smooth. And I remember our first day out there doing conditioning, and he beat everybody. Mm. And you know how this is when you're young and you're a true freshman, and they're like, yeah, look at the true freshman trying to show off this, that, and the third. But I pulled Adoree to the side. I said, listen, don't lower your standards from nobody. You're the number one corner in the nation for a reason. You don't have to shrink down to nobody. Like, you're here for a reason. And what I always tell these guys is, like, no matter whether it's in football or in life, like, in general, it's like somebody needs exactly what you have. Mm-hmm. That's why you're here. And so I want all these guys to know is that I genuinely believe in you. He know we believe in him. He's coming in here. We dang near have the whole team in here on a Saturday morning. And it's all on them. Mm-hmm. You know, we're hands off. You do whatever you want to do, but that's the type of culture that we've kind of fostered here. And they know we're going to always act and react out of the spirit of love. You know, I'm a relationship guy, you know what I mean? And those just fill my spirit, man, just meeting people, meeting yourself, meeting your staff, and meeting Coach Spellman, like that alone just kind of like fills me up, man, fills my spirit. So that's what I get out of it, and I think it's been reciprocated really well through the players and through the coaches I met over the years.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. And what came through me as you were sharing that is something you said a few minutes ago, and talking about, you know, kind of the lack of maybe a father presence or a strong male presence. Yep. And, you know, hearing you reflect on these, you know, former players that are now current friends / family, basically. Mm-hmm. You said this from the start. You were working in mental health. Yep. When you got your coaching start. Yep. And you've been applying everything that you care about from the very beginning. You've essentially become the strong male figure, the father-like figure for so many people. So I'm sitting here, it's an honor and privilege to sit here in this seat and hear you talk about it. Mm-hmm. And I get to acknowledge the fact that it's been, I mean, what's it been, thousands? Man. I mean, at least hundreds.
It's
but
crazy.
A lot of human beings you've had the opportunity to impact. Yep. And the fact that, like, you spoke on pure passion is what it felt like sitting here in my seat. And now I'll circle back and say that I asked you 3 questions and we covered an hour. Yeah. And you got to share with all these coaches and players and people about the significance of what it means to be a coach. Yep. And it's not just a coach, it's a teacher, you know, and a father, and essentially a guide and a mentor. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's so much value that I get to take and everybody gets to take. I can't even really come up with a concluding question because you gave me everything. You know, I've got plenty of questions.
Yeah, it's all good. I got time. I'm here.
Yeah, but I guess, you know, I'll leave it open. Yep. I'd love to hear anything else that you'd like to add on top. And one thing I'll add to that is, and it's in relation to you kind of saying that you feel that void. You and the staff, you feel that void for all these young men for all these years. There's a quote that has resonated deeply with me that I've used in my coaching, you know, days. It's from Carl Jung, and it's, all children are tasked with the unfinished business of their parents. You know, and you mentioned that it's really a kid's job to just be a little bit better than their parent. So maybe in that direction is somewhere that you want to take, like, your closing statement. Yeah. But yeah, whatever's coming up for you, I'd love to hear.
Yeah. Well, let me start by saying this. I had really good parents, right? Mm-hmm. And mom, dad, uncles, aunts, grandparents, high school coaches, little league coaches. I was just tremendously blessed. Like, whatever my dad couldn't do, my high school coach, my middle school coach, my youth league coach that I still talk to today, right? Whatever my mom couldn't do, my mother-in-law was going to do, or my aunts can do, my big cousins can do. Like, big old family, right? Mm-hmm. Big old family. And it's a lot comes out of that, right? A lot comes out of that. And so I'm tremendously blessed with a family. Like, it's just like, they never let me get caught up in no foolishness now. And they say, hey, if you want something, just let us know. We'll get it for you. But you don't worry about doing none of that. You just let us do what we do. you let me know what you want, we'll make sure you get it. So they took a lot of that. They invested a lot of their time and energy into myself. So I was blessed. So I'm kind of, I'm one of those anomaly. That's what I am.
Yeah, love that.
That's what I am. But to speak on children, like I said, I have 3 kids, and all of them are tremendously athletic. And again, my son said he would never come play where I am, but I think he's just calling him bluff on that.
We'll see about that.
He'll be right there, right? But this is what I told my kids, even my youngest, because he's 9, and he's the only one. I say, Storm, his name is Storm. I say, Storm, what do you want to be when you grow up? He said, football player. It's almost like, why are you asking me that? Like, you should know this already. Like it's a dumb question. Why football player? I said, okay. I said, what's the first thing you're going to buy, Storm? 3 Lamborghinis and a mansion? I say, you going to invest in any of it? He say, no, after I buy my 3 Lamborghinis and a mansion. I said, okay. I said, all right, that's fine. I'll leave him alone. He's 9. You know what I mean? My daughter, she's more into the saving and putting it here and putting it there. And, she's more into that. My oldest, we'll talk about him later. But this is the thing. This is what I tell all my kids. Whatever you decide to do and whatever you become a professional in, whether it's sports or non-sports, the only thing that you can do for me and your mom, the only thing I'm going to ever ask for you is to never come back to my house. That's it. Don't come back here. If you don't come back here, that's all I want. I say, because once you guys leave, me and mama, we starting over.
Yeah.
Your room is an office. Your room is an arcade room. And your room is a guest room. That pool, if you want to come swim in it, you got to pay. Like, you're a guest when you come back here. We're going to go move to Venus or Mars, and we're going to start this whole thing over. So that's what I always say is, like, my kids don't owe me anything. And that's the thing that kind of bothers me about parents. I said the other day in the podcast I was doing is that your kids don't owe you anything. So it kills me when I hear parents say, well, my baby make it to the NBA, he gonna buy me a house after all I done for him. No. Yeah. No, don't put that on that boy or that young lady. Like, no, that's not their job. I just don't like when parents put that over their head to make them feel like you have to go do this so you can take care of me because, baby, I'm tired of working. Yeah. No. You know what I mean? So I catch a lot of flack for that, but that's just my stance on that, right? It's just I don't want my kids to buy me nothing, and they're going to want that for their kids. And I got it tattooed on me in Proverbs 13:22. It says, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So it ain't about money. We talk about legacy. He's talking about that last name means something. Right. And we're in athletics, and my kid's last name is Belton. My thing is, whether they come into athletics or not, that Belton name means something. For me, on a day-to-day basis, I'm just always reminded of the mission, and the mission to me is this gift that I've been utilized with, that I have, is my job just to utilize it and maximize it, whether it's on this platform or whether it's on a literal platform on the field, in a weight room or on the field. That's my job, it's just to be glorious in that moment at all times. You know what I mean? This podcast will live forever. Is recorded. That's right. So 100 years down the road, we'll be able to pull this up and like, oh, that's what my granddaddy looked like? That's right. Man, he was fine. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah. But, for me, it's like when it's time for me to go in the transition or, whatever it is, like I just want to feel good. If it's not a sudden deal, I want to feel good and say, man, I maximize this thing. It's nothing out there that I've ever wanted to do that I haven't done. When that time comes, I just want to hear job well done because I'm doing everything that I know I'm supposed to be doing. That's why I sleep well, and that's why I don't age. Like, I feel great. Yeah. I'm 40-something. I was over doing cartwheels and forward rolls and handstands just now.
Are you just entering your prime?
I ain't even got there yet.
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
Yeah.
This is what I feel like, and I was writing about this the other day. And I'm not asking anybody to agree with me. I think there's a gift of God, and I also think there's a curse of God. And the gift of God is the things that you're born with. It's a gift. I didn't earn them. I didn't even ask for them. Right? It's a gift for me to be able to build relationships. It was a gift for me to be a decent football player. I didn't ask for anything, and I didn't even earn it, and I didn't even deserve it. You know what I mean? For what I've been given, I didn't deserve it, but that was a gift. And so since I realized that there was a gift, I'm still utilizing that gift. So with that gift, I'm able to be a gift. So the gift is just keep on giving. But on the other side, there's the curse of God, and this is what I believe. This is my conviction.
Yeah,
It's that when you don't operate out of that gift, I think there's a certain amount of guilt that goes along with that, and only per person, per man, know what that gift is. So if you know that you're gifted in something, it could be cooking, it could be shining shoes, it could be singing, it could be dancing, and you're not operating in that gift out of whatever it is. It could be fear, but you don't know what God got planned for. You don't know, you know what I mean? And so when you don't operate in that gift, and that guilt ain't going nowhere, because I believe the Spirit works a certain type of way. It's like, bro, like, what are you doing? And so you end up going to work in these jobs because it's going to pay the bills, but in your heart, you're like, I know I should be doing this. I know I should be doing this. So you turn to the bottle, or you turn to other things that try to get your mind off of that guilt that you already have. You know what I mean? Because you're not operating in what you've been called here to do. Because in my opinion, this is just my perspective. I'm not saying I'm not a minister. I'm none of that, right? But like, I just truly feel like God is giving you a gift, so your gift can build off somebody else's gift, so that gift can be a gift to somebody else, and to somebody else, and to somebody else, and to somebody else. But if you don't feel that gift, then somebody else can't be blessed with the gift that you have, so the gift that they have can't be built on the gift that you got. So somebody else 20 years down the road, they waiting on you. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're waiting on you. Somebody 20 years down the road is counting on KB to show up every day and to utilize his gift.
I gotta say, and I could listen to you keep going on this, but I'm very aligned personally.
Okay.
And I hope that anybody listening to this can first appreciate that we get to kind of conclude in such a beautifully spiritual way.
Yeah.
And no matter religion, no matter, creed or walk of life, we all do have a gift. We all are blessed with our unique soul, we could call it, or I call it. And I'm convicted in this as well. And, I was just having this conversation yesterday with one of my mentors, and it's selfish. It is a curse if you have this gift, if you have your unique expression, and you're not using it. And so I revel in this moment, Keith, to sit here and both at the same time utilize our gifts. It's a beautiful blessing for me to hear you express so openly and honestly. And that is the golden thread takeaway for everybody listening, what you just shared to me.
Yeah.
And hell, I'll announce it on the Canon podcast. If somebody would like to discuss that, then we're open for discussion here.
Oh yeah. Well, let me add this. Like,
please.
This is what's crazy about it, is that I remember when Coach Kelly called and essentially offered me the job, and it's not a lot of African Americans head strength coaches in Power 5 football, right? I believe it's less than 10, right? And this is crazy. And this is during the pandemic, so it was via Zoom. And so I'm like, okay. I got this interview with Coach Kelly and the staff. Should I cut my hair? Right? Should I cut my hair? And so I'm like, man, I think I need to cut my hair. Because I was just not starting my lock journey. I think I need to cut my hair. I'm gonna wear long sleeves because I don't need to show my tattoos. Right? Just tremendously self-conscious that was going to be used against me because of how I looked. Then the Spirit said, no, show up.
Yep.
Get on there, get on that doggone Zoom, and be you. And he called me by my nickname. He said, Thump, how you doing? And I said, okay, here we go. Yes, sir. Because I knew right then and there that it was okay to be me.
Mm-hmm.
When he called me by my nickname, I knew I couldn't be fake.
Right.
That knew me when I was 17, 18, 19 years old, that went to my granny house in West Charlotte, that sat at that table with my granny and my uncles and my mom and my dad that knew me personally. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't jump on that Zoom and act like I was Keith Belton. He called me Thump, so I had to give him who Thump was. Right? I took the gloves off, right?
Yeah.
Since we on Thump basis, here we go.
Yeah.
And we just talked, man. We just talked. And so when he called me back and he offered me the job, and this is the takeaway out of this. When I talk about the gift, and it don't matter what your religious beliefs are or what that's not my job. I'm not trying to convert nobody to believe in nothing, mm-hmm. right? But this is the conviction for me. He said, Thump, I'll be honest with you. From the first conversation we had, I knew that you was the perfect guy for this job. Mm. He said, I knew it from the first time I seen you. From the first time that I seen you, not the first time I heard you, from the first time that I seen you. And what I thought was imperfect, it was perfect for him. Mm. And it was perfect for here. So my message to whoever's listening is that you don't have to change your being. It's somebody that's looking for exactly what you have and who you are.
That's right.
So go be dope, go be you, mm-hmm. and go express you, because somebody's looking for you. They need you, not your representative. And when I got here and I walked downstairs and those young men saw me with my starter locks and they saw the tattoos and they heard the music and they was like, it's time to go. Mm. Just be who you are. You ain't got to change. Just be who you are. Understand where you are, but don't change who you are. Understand where you are, but don't change who you are. So now I just encourage anybody, if that's what your deal is, go, because somebody needs that. So that's that.
You heard it here first. Everybody, please take Coach KB, Coach Thump, Coach Keith's words to your heart, to your soul, and just be who you are. Coaches lead by example. Your job is significant. The impact you have is significant. And if you're not being you, then you're not making the impact you can possibly make. Thank you all for coming and tuning in to this exploratory and incredible episode with Coach KB. I'm your host, Matthew Michael Coleman. I'll see y'all next time.